Hi there. Today I thought I'd show you how I mount some of my large Coro props. This is a Gilbert Engineering Mother of All Wreaths in the Impression series. And here's a Gilbert XLS 450. And I've used the same method on both of these. I've done several of my props. I have 1/4" bolts that I put into them. It bolts to a back of a PVC frame, which I just put together with standard parts from your hardware store and glued them together. And then I hang them up using PVC pipe clips. Before we get into too much of the details, I flipped around both these props where you see the frame. So here's a square frame on the back of the XLS 450 with attachment points for the clips. And here on the Mother of All Wreaths, it's quite a bit heavier. With 1/2 inch, I had to run a piece right down the center to add additional support, so everything was nice and rigid. Again, I used the 1/2 inch PVC clips. On the Mother of All Wreath, I will take an eye bolt that is a bit stronger, goes into the more solid into the side of the house, and then I use extra wire ties to help add additional support so it won't come down when the wind blows. So here are the PVC clips I use to hang up the props. The Holiday Coro product I've been using for years, works well. Have to replace them periodically because they do get brittle and I do leave them on my house. I started with a 1/4" T-nut and a slip fitting on one side, threaded on the other. All this is all 1/2 inch PVC pipe. Then I take a 1/4" carriage bolt and a hammer, and I pound in the T-nut straight into the fitting on the slip side. Next thing I do is I take and glue basically it's an 1.5 to 2 inches PVC stub. The important thing is make them all exactly the same. Next step is to glue the 3-way elbow to the coupling I just built with the T-nut in it. That locks that T-nut into place. And next is to put it on the prop. So now I take this bushing. It's threaded a male end, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to drill a hole to the bottom of this so the 1/4" bolt will fit right through it. Here I use my drill press. It's roughly a 3/8 inch size 3/8 inch size bit. Alright, and that's all there is to it. I use a little bit larger, so I make sure if I'm off center just a little bit, which I am, the 1/4" bolt will fit right through it. Okay, so now I take my 3-way T, which has been glued to my fitting with a 1/4" T-nut in it, and I take the bushing with a hole in it, and I thread it in the end. And eventually I will tighten these down, and one thing you're going to have to do is get them all the same height, and with the threaded bushing you can get all that adjusted just at the right height. 3-way elbows all glued together with my bushings all tightened down so they're all the same height. I've taken some 1/4" bolts with a washer on the back side. I'm going to go thread all 4 of these into my flake. Now I just take the pieces I built, the 3-way elbows, and just screw it down by hand here. I'm holding the nut on the back side, and there's a washer on each one of those nuts. And I'm just going to go around to all 4 sides, get them all screwed in place, and then I will cut PVC pipe, 1/2 inch again, to the right length and lock it in together. So now that I got all 4 of the 3-way elbows in place, I'm going to, and I've cut my PVC pipe. I'm going to lay out these red rags just so I don't get the blue PVC cement on the back of my prop. Prefer to leave it clean as possible, so just going to glue this in place. And I'll just keep repeating this process, and I got a rag here to kind of wipe up the excess. And then I'll switch over to the other side. And glue that in place. Voila, all set. And I'll repeat this 4 times. You may have to loosen the bolts on the back side to make sure you have enough room to move the PVC pieces to get them locked into position. So here is the completed frame for this Coro snowflake. All glued together, ready to go. You'll notice there at the top I have an arrow on the back side of the flake showing the orientation of it. I do that on almost all my Coro props, the ones that aren't obvious what orientation they're in. Because if you install them upside down or sideways, they won't look right in your sequences. So here's the front side of the completed snowflake. You'll see the 1/4-inch bolts there with the washers. 2 on the top, 2 on the bottom. And when you get a distance away from that, you'll just never even notice those are there. So I use this mounting system for various size props, from this smaller flake, which you saw me actually construct the mounting system for, as well as the larger snowflake here, the 400 XLS, as well as the mother of all wreaths. The mother of all wreaths was on my display last year, and it held flawlessly and looked great in the show. So this concludes this video. So I hope this will help somebody out there. Have a wonderful day.